Hello everyone. So, what is DNA and what are chromosomes? Okay, so what is DNA? So, now we have DNA. What is this DNA? It stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, so this is actually considered as the genetic material, and this is chemically this is a polymer of a substance called as nucleotides. So this is what it is chemically. Now if you ask what are nucleotides, they are chemicals having three components. So one is they have a base, and this base can be a purine base or a pyrimidine base, and next it has a sugar moiety, and this is actually a ribose sugar, and this ribose sugar has one oxygen atom less, which is where the word deoxy comes from. So you can see deoxyribonucleic acid. And the third is a acidic group, that is the phosphate moiety. So these three components make nucleotides. Okay, and DNA is simply large polymer of nucleotides. So if you take a DNA, you have one nucleotide linearly attached to many nucleotides, okay, like these. But this is not all the structure, this is only half of the structure, because DNA is made of two such strands. Okay, not just that, these two strands are not like arranged in a linear fashion, rather it is slightly twisted and it is present. Not just that, these two strands are actually in a double helical pattern. Okay, so they are in the form of double helix. So what you can say is it is a polymer of nucleotides. Okay, nucleotide polymer, and it is double stranded, and it is present in helical structure. Now why is this DNA important? Why do we call it as the genetic material? Because it contains some information. So what sorts of information it has? It has information about the embryogenesis. It has information about how this embryo develops. It has information about how this embryo, after developing, grows. It has information about all the metabolism that happens inside this organism. It has information about the reproduction. It also has information about all the health and disease of the organism. So essentially, this is a complete guide, and it has all the information of the organism. So each and everything about the organism is encoded in this DNA. Okay, so where do you see this DNA? The DNA is located in every cell with a nucleus. So it is present inside the nucleus. So if a cell has a nucleus, inside it you have this DNA. Now how much of DNA does each of the cells have? They have one complete copy. So each cell has their own complete copy, but still each of the cell is different from others, right? So the liver cell is not the same as the bone cell or the brain cell. So how does this work? Even though they have complete information that makes up the entire organism, so they still use only part of those information, and they differentiate into cells of specific function and form. So if you equate this to a book, if the complete genome is like a book, each of the cell are specialists in different chapters. Okay, so they have the information, but they are specialized in only few different topics. Okay, the rest of the things they don't bother about. Now each complete copy we saw in the last video contains about 20,000 to 50,000 genes, and this equates to about, in humans, almost 3 billion base pairs. So what do you mean by base pairs? So I told DNA, the genetic material, is actually a large polymer of deoxyribonucleic acids, and it is present in the it is present as double strands, right? So each of this strand, each of the deoxyribonucleic acids interact with the corresponding deoxyribonucleic acids in the opposite strand through certain hydrogen bonds. Okay, these two nucleic acid that is involved and attached through hydrogen bonds, they are considered as base pairs. So you have 3 billion of them. So if you start counting in human genome, at the end you will end up with 3 billion. That is how huge the DNA is. But still, as I mentioned earlier, it is present inside the cell, that too inside the nucleus. So how does this such a big polymer end up inside this small volume of space, that is nucleus? How does it do? So it is with the help of two major processes. One is called as condensation, other is organization. So this DNA is extremely condensed and extremely organized into a very small and very compact particles. That is what we call as chromosomes. It is extremely condensed and organized into a small particles called chromosomes. Okay, so what are chromosomes? So as I told you, chromosomes are nothing but genetic material that is condensed and organized, and it is present inside the nucleus. Okay, and these chromosomes, they are not continuous strands. Instead, they are broken down. They are not one complete genome. They are broken down into multiple chromosomes. For example, humans have 46 chromosomes. Now a chromosome, one chromosome will have a complementary chromosome. So what does it mean? So each of this chromosome will have a complementary chromosome, and they make 23 pairs. So the complementary chromosomes have same morphology and same function. They look very same, that's why they have same morphology, and they have same order of genes. That's why they have same function. That means if you take a position in one of the chromosome and you compare the same position in the other chromosome, the genes located will be same, and they will try to provide similar information. As I told you, the DNA molecule itself is providing information, right? So if you pick any spot or position in the chromosome, that gene will provide the information, almost the same information as in the complementary chromosome. This pair of chromosomes, they are called as homologs. Okay, they are called as homologs. So for us, we have about 22 such homologs. That means same morphology and same information. Now they are providing same information. That means, suppose I have a chromosome and its homolog, and I choose a position, and in that position they are trying to provide information for a protein A. Okay, so in the next side also it will try to provide the same information or similar information. So if the information is same, then these two pairs of genes, we call them homozygous. If the information is slightly different, like these, so this codes for capital A and this codes for small a, then we call them heterozygous. The entire pair of chromosomes are called as homologs, and the complementary genes, we call them alleles. So these are simply different forms of genes. And alleles, depending on whether they provide the same or the different information, we call them homozygous or heterozygous. Okay. Now if I order all the homologs, right, from chromosome 1 all the way to chromosome 23, all the homologs together, okay, all the similar ones together, this is what we call as karyotype, and this process is what we call as karyotyping. Now this is important because since if you locate one particular gene, you can the reason why you need to do karyotyping and you need to study the chromosomes is because, as I told you, the order of information, the order of genes is fixed. It has a fixed order. So if you find a disease, you can easily locate the gene for that disease very easily once you have mapped them. Okay, this identification of gene and the locus and its fixed locus, that process is called as gene mapping. Okay, and the resulting map, you can call it as gene maps. So nowadays these gene mapping and gene maps are very important to identify diseases, and this entire study is what you call as cytogenetics. And as I already mentioned, humans have 46 chromosomes. Of these, 22 chromosomes are homologs or similar. Okay, and they are called as autosomes. Okay, 22 pairs are called as autosomes. The reason why they are given this name is because they are same in males and females. Okay, but the 23rd pair, right, it has two chromosomes that are not identical. Okay, it is not a homolog. So you have one X and one Y. Now males have one X and Y chromosome pair, and females have 2X chromosome pair. One more information which I would like to provide now is that these chromosomes are numbered according to their apparent size. That means the largest will have chromosome number 1, and the next biggest 2, and the smallest will have chromosome number 22. So it's just an apparent size when visualized under microscope.